Hey everyone, it's Gilz with your Postgame Talk here in Kansas City. K-State picking up a 78-74 victory over Texas. The Wildcats are now moving on to the quarterfinal round against Iowa State. K-State did just beat the Cyclones a few days ago inside of Bramlage Coliseum, so the blueprint is there. You know, K-State obviously has some momentum now, beating Texas, a quality basketball team. So K-State now trying to make some noise to really improve its resume before Selection Sunday. The Quadrant 1 opportunities are going to be here for Kansas State for the entirety of this stay in Kansas City. Real quick here, be sure you're subscribing. Be sure to leave a like, a comment. It really makes us happy. It makes Fitz very happy. And if you haven't caught on yet, I'm not Tim Fitzgerald. Fitz is not feeling. He's not feeling the trip to Kansas City anymore. He's left me in charge. He's left me and Zach in charge, and so you're stuck with me for as long as K-State can stay alive here in the Big 12 tournament. But obviously the first one is the most important one, and Jerome Tang mentioned this before the game, that this was the hardest game. The first game of any tournament is always kind of the hardest one to win, and K-State got that done. And it was really the tale of two halves for the Wildcats. K-State did not play well in the first half. I think anybody inside of that locker room would tell you that. K-State was down by double digits. You know, not much else needs to be said there. K-State did not play well for the first 20 minutes, and K-State, I think, guys, let's be honest, was in the locker room there. I think they might have looked at themselves in the mirror and said, hey, you know, we've got 20 minutes left to turn things around, and if not, those NCAA tournament chances are all but gone. And so K-State really did step up in the second half. Only had 2 turnovers. Day-Day Ames scored 10 points in this game. All of those came after halftime. You know, K-State got to the free throw line, aggressive in the paint. K-State did the things that you need to do to beat a team like Texas. The defensive intensity was really good in this game. Kansas State, you know, before this one, Jerome Tang kind of talked about wanting to turn this one into maybe a slow sort of defensive battle where every point is earned. And, you know, when you see a game in the 70s like that, maybe you think that didn't happen. But K-State, you know, Jerome Tang mentioned it up on the podium after the game that, you know, Texas, you look at their numbers, their, you know, percentages are in the 20s in the second half from the field, and you know, K-State locked in defensively, and that's the sign of a good effort from the Wildcats. And you know, Tyler Perry, he joked about it up on the podium. I mentioned only 2 turnovers in the second half, and Tyler Perry just said, "Yeah, I stopped turning the ball over." But that's kind of what, you know, things started to click for this team in the second half, right? And I don't want to speak for these players, but from my point of view, I thought they played a little, I wouldn't say timid, but they were maybe a little tense early on. You know, from the opening tip, I think everybody on that roster knew that, you know, this was a must-win game if you want to get that NCAA tournament hopes really up and running. And so maybe they were just a little, you know, trying to do a little too much early on in this game. And maybe for the entirety of that first half, you know, K-State was maybe just pushing too hard. But, you know, bottom line, the first half, if you play like that for a full 40 minutes, you're not going to win the game. Now, there's a variety of reasons. You know, everything that went wrong. It was 8 turnovers in the first half. K-State, obviously, that's kind of the norm for this team. But, you know, second half was really good. And I think that was, you know, this may be a knee-jerk reaction, but that was certainly one of the better halves of basketball. I'm not going to say it's the best all season, but K-State plays like that for 20 minutes. It doesn't, you know, have to be an entire first half or a second half against Iowa State, but you play that way, you know, 8-minute stretch in the first half, and then you get another 2 minutes to, you know, close out the second half, and then you get 6 minutes here and, you know, 4 minutes there. You get 20 minutes of that, you know, sort of perfect basketball that we saw from Kansas State in the second half what we saw in the second half. If you get that for 20 minutes here and there for an entire 40 minutes against Iowa State, you know, this is going to be a tough game for the Cyclones. And obviously, Iowa State's probably going to be a little bit more locked in than they were inside of Bramlage Coliseum. I think TJ Otzelberger mentioned it, that the Cyclones were out-physicaled and out-hustled in that game inside of Bramlage Coliseum just a few days ago. And it goes without saying that Iowa State's going to be well rested. K-State was down by 10 at the half, so they had to claw their way back into this game. You do exert a lot of energy, but maybe this is an opportunity for a guy like R.J. Jones or Day-Day Ames, who didn't play a whole ton of minutes, to step up and give Tyler Perry or Cam Carter, Arthur Kaluma some much-needed time on the bench. So all the coverage is going to keep coming your way here on GoPowercat. We'll have the post-game press conferences up there. Fitz is handling the post-game analysis, the quick analysis from back in the Cats and Dogs studio. I'll have my 5 things we learned piece from this one. And so a lot of coverage is coming your way here from Kansas City. K-State does pick it up, though, 78-74 against Texas.